98 FM's Dublin Talks. Call 6797 981.
And good morning from Adrian Kennedy. How are you today? What is that stuff falling from the sky? Oh, it's actually rain. What an unusual sight. Ever since, it's bizarre actually, and conspiracy theorists believe it's something to do with pollution. The weather we have had over the last 6-7 weeks has been extraordinary, really, compared to what we would normally have here in Ireland at this time of the year. But interesting to see some drops of rain falling from the sky today. But it looks like it's actually going to improve again towards the weekend, which is something. Anyway, good morning. Welcome to 98 FM's Dublin Talks. A lot of stuff to get through on the programme today. But first off on the show, I want to find out how your relationship or striking up new relationships is going during this current life that we're leading because of lockdown and isolation. Literally nobody is hooking up at the moment. Well, maybe they are, but online only. In a moment, I'm going to be talking to a woman, Mary, who has been virtually dating a man that she met online a couple of weeks ago. They've been having virtual dates, meals together, even though they're hundreds of kilometres apart. But we want to hear from you if you're in a relationship but living apart from your partner. So you might live in one house and she lives in the other house, or vice versa. He lives in a different house, he lives with a load of flatmates, or whatever the case may be. How are you coping, and how is your relationship surviving throughout all that we're living through at the minute? I want you to have a listen to a WhatsApp voice note that came in to us. You may be able to relate to this. Have a listen to this.
Hey guys, so look, I've been self-isolating, and obviously because me and my boyfriend don't live in the same house, we have to live in separate houses, and we've been self-isolating separately, which means we haven't seen each other, and I'm finding it so difficult, and I just want to know how's everyone else getting on with this? How are people coping? Because I'm finding it really, really hard being away from him for such a long time and not knowing when this is going to end and when I'll get to see him again. I just want to see what other people's thoughts are. Okay,
because an awful lot of people are in this exact situation. You have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and, you know, your relationship is at a point, but not at the point that you moved in together. Maybe it was on the cards, but it hasn't happened yet. So you're living in one house, and he or she is living in the other house. You could be a fair distance apart. And how are you coping without actually seeing each other? Call me right now on 6797 981. You can also text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note right now to 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. Send me a WhatsApp voice note and let me know how you're coping with without seeing your boyfriend or girlfriend over the last couple of weeks. Are you in a similar situation to that lady who sent that message to us? Call me right now on 6797 981, or as I said, send me a text, a WhatsApp, or a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. How are you coping? How is your relationship coping, especially if you don't live together? Now, obviously, if you live together, that's an even different ballgame. Maybe you're getting on much better, or maybe you're going to kill each other. Anyway, here is a WhatsApp voice note from Mark, who's in this situation.
Hi lads, I'm in the same boat as that girl. I haven't seen my girlfriend now in 6 weeks, and to be honest with you, that's the only thing that is any sort of difficulty, is not seeing her.
And I know it is. It has to be a difficulty. As I said, if you're married and you're living together, then this isn't even on your radar. But as I said, if you live apart, if you live in different houses, you live with your mammy, she lives with her mammy, how do you cope? And how has obviously you can see each other and talk to each other, but how is it affecting you? Call me right now on 6797 981, or send me a text, a WhatsApp, or a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. And what has to be even more difficult is online dating. As we know, over the last number of years, many of you are meeting each other through online dating. But that has even been knocked on the head, because you could meet somebody in an online dating app, but you can't meet them. You can't go and travel and hook up and go for dinner together because we just can't. So how do you get around that? Well, this lady was... I love this. This is a great story. Mary, good morning and welcome to 98 FM. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Mary. Yesterday, I was actually talking about this whole issue on the television, on the Today Show with Maura and Dahi yesterday. We were talking about how people survive online dating. And after seeing that piece on the telly yesterday, you contacted me, so thank you for that, to describe how you have been virtually dating. Explain how this works and what you've been doing. Well, firstly, tell me a little bit about yourself. You're 60.
I'm 6 years of age. I'm divorced.
You're divorced?
I live in Skerries.
You live in Skerries, yeah.
I have 2 adult children. My son is living with me.
Okay.
And I have 4 dogs.
And 4 dogs. Fantastic,
4 dogs,
right?
yeah.
Okay. So, you've been trying this online dating thing for a while, but it hasn't, as for many people, it hasn't worked out as you would have liked. Give me an idea of the sort of...
Well, it did work out for a while. I separated in 2013, legally separated, and I went for a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
And quite soon, once I joined the site Plenty of Fish, the older dating site for people over 55,
mm-hmm.
I met a guy very soon afterwards. He was a Dublin guy. He was 4 years younger than me. I was looking for a man with his own hair and his own teeth. This guy was bald and he was gorgeous.
Right, okay.
Gorgeous. So he met me in Skerries. He lived in town and I live in Skerries. He met me in Skerries. We went for a walk along Red Island in Skerries. And when we came back to this car park after our hour-long date, he opened the boot of his car and he presented me with a huge arrangement of flowers, absolutely massive.
Right, okay.
Beautiful flowers, birds of paradise, freesia, oh my God, orchids, everything. And I said to him, why are you giving me flowers? And he says, even if you don't want to meet me again there, he says, I really enjoyed our time. I enjoyed our online chat. And I knew you were a nice person, and here is this bunch of flowers. I started to cry in the car park. I said, oh my God, he is so nice. I then proceeded, things that I've never done since, to bring him back to my house to introduce him to my daughter.
Ooh, right, okay.
But again, Adrian, I think I was on the rebound. I was out of a marriage that wasn't working. I met this guy. He presented me with flowers, and I think I was just bowled over, to be honest with you. So the relationship continued. I dated him. We dated for 3 years. The only drawback was that he was living with his mother. Hence, anytime and it was kind of many rules. And it's just, I think,
Sorry, Mary, your phone line has gone terribly muffled. Yeah, go on.
No, so because he was living with Mammy, had he been living in an apartment on his own, it may have worked. But he was a nice and a genuine guy. Mm-hmm. But I just called time on that. Then I went back to the online dating site. Bear in mind now, Adrian, I was off the site for 3 years.
Right, okay, yeah. So back you went.
Back I went to the site and I updated my profile picture to a more recent one, because I was 3 years older, obviously. And the guys that viewed me 3 years ago were the guys that were viewing me again, because their profile photographs were the exact same.
Okay, right.
Okay. So anyway, the jigs and the wheels, I met a few people for dates. These were gym bunnies. They had never seen a gym in their life. They were more likely to be at the bar stool, you know what I mean? The pot bellies, the dirty fingernails, the bad BO, unreal. Anyway,
right.
I got talking to this guy, and he's in government. A very nice guy, and we chatted. Again, it wasn't video chat, it was just texting. And we chatted over a period of 2 weeks, and then we decided to meet. We'd meet in Malahide. And just for the caution, I just said, what will you be wearing in the event that the profile picture wasn't the same? Mm-hmm. And he said, I'll be wearing Chantilly lace. Now, I thought that was a bit strange, and I said nothing. So I arrived in this pub in Malahide, and he was sitting at the bar. Really handsome-looking guy, well-dressed, well-spoken. Sat down, had a glass of wine, we were chatting away, and he turns over to me, Adrian, and he says, Mary, what underwear are you wearing?
Oh.
And I says, What? And he says, well, I told you I'd be wearing my Chantilly lace.
Oh.
Do you fancy going back to my pad, which is around the corner, and we can exchange our underwear?
Oh, no.
Okay. So anyway, that was fine. So needless to say, I didn't go back to the apartment. And I came back to Skerries, right? And I went on a few other dates, and they just didn't work out. There was no spark there. And the next thing was, I got talking to this guy. He was involved in... He was 6'3". He wants to meet me, and I...
Sorry, Mary, I'm going to have to cut across you because the quality of your line is really bad. It's really echoey. I'm going to get the lads to ring you straight back, if that's okay.
Okay, no bother.
We'll try and get a clearer line. This is a great story, but wait till you hear how this story ends. Sean sent me this message. He hasn't seen his fiancée in over 2 months.
Hi, Adrian. I haven't seen my fiance because of 2 months. We live apart, and it's like we only live 15 minutes away from each other, but it's tough. We've been doing video chatting every single day, so living a virtual engaged life is not fun, and we can't wait to see each other again very, very soon. So here's hoping.
All right, Sean, thank you very much indeed. Send me a WhatsApp voice note right now to 0877 98 98 98 and let me know how you're coping with not seeing your boyfriend or your girlfriend or whatever. How are you coping with it? WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. Now, Mary, have I got you back in a better line?
Yes, I hope so, Adrian.
Okay, that's much better. So, you met the guy with the knickers. You went back on again, and tell me what happened then.
He was working in construction. He was 6'3". So we decided we'd meet in a hotel lobby in Swords.
Okay.
It was either last August or September. It was during the summer month anyway. And I was wearing a linen T-shirt or whatever it is and a pair of jeans. And I walked in, Adrian, and here was this man sitting at a bar, and he was wearing a heavy coat, like a Crombie type coat.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
And I just thought this was unusual because it was actually quite a lovely day, you know. And I was driving, so I wasn't drinking. So he was drinking cocktails at the bar. So 2 o'clock in the afternoon, drinking cocktails, right? So I had my coffee. I went to put my handbag, Adrian, down on the ground, and as I was putting my handbag down on the ground, I noticed that he wasn't wearing any socks or any shoes. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of lifted my gaze from the handbag, and I just looked at his face, and there was something very pervy about him. I don't know what it was. I don't know how many cocktails he had at that stage, or what it was, but there was something very strange about him. And he just moved closer to me and he says, Mary, I have booked a room upstairs if you want to join me later.
Oh, my God.
And with that, he opened his coat, Adrian, and he was starkers. There was nothing. Inside the coat. There was nothing inside the coat. The barman who was...
So this is... hang on. So you're sitting in a bar in Swords?
In a public bar in Swords, yeah.
Right.
2 o'clock in the afternoon. 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
On a nice day... And this guy meets you in the bar. He's wearing a big, long Mac, totally inappropriate for the weather you were having.
Yes.
And how did he... what did he do? Just open the coat?
He, when I noticed that he had no shoes or socks, I thought, there's something funny going on here. This is madness, you know? And with that, he just opened his coat and flashed. And the barman who was mixing his cocktail nearly passed out. Was there, and I legged it out the door. I just said, "Oh my God!" And do you know what, Adrian? I got into my car. I locked the doors of my car at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, right in Swords, and I started thinking, "Thank God I didn't go out to meet him at night for a drink."
Oh my God!
Can you imagine?
So, right, so you've the fella with the Mac, you've the fella who wanted to swap underwear with you. So you haven't had a good run then.
Not a good one until now. Things are looking up.
Okay, so tell me about the man that you have now met online, who you haven't actually met.
At all. Okay, I joined this site. It's called Bumble. And Bumble is an online dating site where the woman makes the decision to chat.
Okay, so it's up to women to initiate the interaction, basically.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I joined this, and of course, when the lockdown started, Adrian, COVID-19 lockdown, the bees were buzzing. I never seen so many profiles being uploaded onto Bumble. It was unreal.
In fact, I was mentioning that dating sites, believe it or not, have had in some cases up to a 70% increase in membership, which I find extraordinary considering you can't actually meet at the moment. But anyhow, so there you are on Bumble, loads of new profiles appearing.
Loads of new profiles, and I'd be sitting here, because I'm semi-retired, and I'd be sitting there and I'd say, oh, I don't like him. I could pick and choose whoever I wanted. This was the first dating site that it was up to me, that I could do whatever I wanted. And the next thing, I came across this profile, this guy called Eddie. Now, again, like I say, I like a man with a head of hair and his own teeth, but again, Eddie is bald. Here we go again, another bald man in my life, you know. And we started chatting. He's in Enniskillen, I'm in Skerry.
Okay.
And can you imagine? I mean, whenever we want to meet, God only knows. But we started chatting anyway, and then Eddie says, you know, Mary, I'm really getting a good vibe from you. And I was feeling the same, to be honest with you, even though we were only texting each other.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, you know what, he's such a sweetheart. He just says, you know, Mary, why don't we have a virtual date tonight?
Right.
No, we just text each other. I was horrified at the thought of having, you know, a video call, because I don't do video calls.
Okay, so and you were, after your experiences up to now, I should imagine you were wondering, oh my God, what's he got in mind?
Oh, what has he got in mind? What is he going to do on the video? This was what I was thinking, okay? And I said, I know nothing about him other than he's from Enniskillen or living in Enniskillen, and I'm here. Oh my God. And I said, he's going to video chat me from the comfort of his own home. He might be in his bedroom. God only knows. I was actually quite apprehensive. So Eddie being Eddie says, now Mary, he says, do you know what we'll do? Let's both get glammed up. You glam yourself up and I glam myself up. You pick your wine, I'll pick my wine. He says, and if it's okay with you, give me your choice of music and I'll set the music in the background in my house here in Enniskillen.
Isn't that lovely?
Oh, I think I was nearly into it.
So your first date was the two of you on a video chat, having dinner, having a glass of wine, doing what people do on dates, except you weren't face to face, obviously.
And the gas thing was, isn't it funny? Because the thing that I was always saying was just texting. You can hide behind the text. You can change that text 100 times before you actually send it. Whereas if you're looking at somebody on a video chat, you see how they're reacting.
Absolutely,
demeanor. They can't hide their feelings from you. They can't, unless they turn the camera off. That's the only way they can do it. You know what I mean?
So Mary, you've had a couple of dates with Eddie from Enniskillen online, and nothing untoward. All very polite, all very pleasant, and
yes, he's amazing. And the gas thing is, I'm from Galway. And he's got family living in Salt Hill. Here we go. He went to the summer college that's just down the road from where I was brought up. He had been back to Roundstone in Connemara before the lockdown. And we had so many things in common. I was talking about home. He knew where I grew up. Do you know what I mean?
Very good. Okay, so how many dates have you had then?
I've had, in the last 2 weeks, I've had 10 dates.
Really? And that involves sitting down, having dinner, just having a chat, getting to know each other, basically, which is the way relationships used to be.
And some of our chats, Adrian, this is unreal, have lasted 5 hours.
That's
what
fantastic.
What do you talk to somebody about for 5 hours if you're not repeating yourself? You're not going to waste.
Yeah. That is absolutely fantastic. So, the point being that because of lockdown, you are developing what sounds like an even better relationship with somebody. Instead of meeting him in a bar and he has a big long Mac on, or meeting him in Skerries and he wants to swap knickers with you. He can't do any of that stuff. But he's so far coming across like a total gentleman that you will one day look forward to meeting.
Oh, absolutely. And it's you know, as each video call goes, we have something new to talk about. How crazy is that? It's just lovely. It's just absolutely lovely.
So by the time you actually get to meet, You will, and you're seeing each other on the dating app or online, so you know what each other looks like. So you make an effort, you dress up, you light candles, music in the background. And a glass of wine as you're talking to each other. That really sounds lovely.
And you know what he does as well? He gives me a virtual tour of Enniskillen sometimes, where he goes outside his apartment. And he says, now, Mary, can you come down to Enniskillen? This is where I'm going to bring you. And he brings me down to the loch, and he brings me down to the pier. And, oh, my God, it's just unreal. I'm seeing Enniskillen from my sitting room.
That is really, really nice. So this is dating like it used to be, except you're not actually meeting each other face to face. And I'm assuming with Eddie, there's been nothing inappropriate. It's all been very nice and pleasant and getting to know each other.
Absolutely. And the thing is, well, you know, with online dating, what I found, Adrian, previous to this relationship now, when I spoke to people online, all they wanted to do was complain about why their marriage broke down or why their wives left them. Or I'm not a counsellor. I don't go online to hear people's problems. I go online to form friendship. Yeah,
and you've done that.
And I'm feeling so good about this relationship. I'm quite scared, to be honest, because I don't let people in. I build this wall around myself. I'm 60 years of age.
Well, obviously, this relationship, as it currently stands, will have to continue for the time being, anyhow.
Absolutely.
Before people are allowed to move around the country again. But it really sounds nice. So the website is Bumble. That's where you met, and this gives women control. Women initiate the interaction.
That's right. It's a fabulous site.
All right, well, that's look, it's a lovely story, Mary. After all the frogs that you met, this man that you haven't even met is turning out to be very, very pleasant. I really appreciate you sharing your story with us, Mary, and
thank you.
And I wish you and Eddie the very best going forward.
Thank you. I love your show, Adrian. Well done.
Thanks very much indeed. Isn't that a lovely story? That's from Mary in Skerries, who has had virtual dates with Eddie over the last couple of weeks, and they're just yapping and getting to know each other and everything else. I have a few more. If you want to share your story of how your relationship is at the moment, maybe you were already in a relationship, or maybe you've met somebody online, how are you doing it? I have a few more WhatsApp messages to play after the break. Don't go away.
The sound of the city, from Balbriggan to Blanchardstown. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
And we were talking about relationships and how yours have been affected. And Adrian loved Mary's story.
Well, if that doesn't make your week, I don't know what is. That lady is fantastic. She's just chatting away like she's in her sitting room. I absolutely love it. It's making my week. Brilliant.
That's lovely to hear, Adrian. Thanks very much indeed. It was a lovely story. It really was. And Darren, as regards relationships, has the opposite problem.
How are you, lads? Yeah, I can feel that girl and that fella's pain, all right. Mine's quite the opposite, though. I can't get away from this for the last 6 weeks. Just drive me around the bend, lads.
Oh, yes, indeed. Thank you very much indeed. You're listening to 98 FM's Dublin Talks. This is Adrian Kennedy. We are here until midday today. Now, next on the programme, this is something we spoke about several weeks ago, and the whole idea of wearing face masks in public, and whether or not it is something that should become compulsory. Well, I was interested to see a story just flash up on my phone moments ago that the Taoiseach Leo Varadkar has said the numbers around ICU, intensive care unit admissions and new cases and deaths due to COVID-19 just aren't good enough yet to start easing restrictions. The Taoiseach said maybe it'll change significantly by Friday, but as things stand, I don't think we're there yet. But he made his statement after an infectious disease specialist at the Royal College of Surgeons said he thinks Irish society would benefit from an easing of some restrictions to allow people to go outside safely with social distancing. Professor Sam McConkey said it is low risk and relatively safe for children and over 70s to work and play outside once masks are worn and people keep their distances. This raises the question that we spoke about a couple of weeks back on the programme. Is it time to make the wearing of face masks compulsory in public? Or at least a serious recommendation, which is what they have done in Scotland, for example. The use of face masks in public is being considered as part of efforts to tackle coronavirus in Ireland, the Chief Medical Officer has said yesterday. Dr. Tony Holohan's comments came as the Scottish Government issued guidance for people to shield their faces in places such as shops and on public transport. Northern Ireland is also expected to consider a similar proposal, and Holohan said the wearing of face masks was one of the measures we are giving consideration to. A few weeks back on this programme, we spoke to a doctor from Cork, a Dr. Nick Flynn, who has also been campaigning essentially for this to become part of our new norm, the wearing of face masks in public places. Here's what he said to me at the beginning of April.
So looking at what's happening throughout the world, Adrian, and looking towards countries that have a lot more experience than Europe at dealing with COVID-19 and SARS and coronavirus outbreaks, looking at China, Japan, South Korea, Hong Kong, all of these countries have made masks for all a central part of their risk reduction strategies. And I think that is where we're looking at, and that's the space we're in, that we need to do everything we can to reduce the risk. So if we have members of the public wearing masks, what it actually does is it prevents somebody who might have the virus from spreading it. So it's not preventing the wearer from becoming infected. It's stopping the wearer from spreading infection. And this is very important, even where somebody doesn't have symptoms, because we now know, and we can see from the HSE contact tracing strategy, where they now contact trace people for 2 days before they became symptomatic. So a confirmed case, the contact tracing now extends to 2 days before that. So it's widely accepted that asymptomatic and early symptomatic spread is a driver of this virus, and wearing face masks, in addition to the other personal protective measures that we have, hand washing, not touching our faces, avoiding physical contact with others, all that physical distancing. Face masks will not replace that, but they will add an additional layer to it, because there are situations where we can see in the shopping aisle, paying for your messages, there are various situations where 2 meters distance is not possible. And it's important to remember that the COVID-19 virus is transmitted by droplets and close contact, and droplets play a very important role in that. And when you speak, you're always generating tiny droplets that you can't see, and the masks will help reduce this. Nothing is going to make this absolute, but this is about risk reduction. I do think we need to look to other countries where this has been a central part of their public health policy, and looking to Europe. We've got Czech Republic and Slovakia who are now doing it. Turkey introduced it over the weekend. Germany are considering it. And I think most significantly for us, the Centre of Disease Control in the United States on Friday recommended masks for all as a voluntary public health measure.
Okay, now that was a couple of weeks ago that I spoke to that particular doctor, and he mentioned there that Germany is considering it. Well, in Germany, from today, masks will be needed to enter shops across the country. Face coverings were already compulsory on buses, trains and trams. But if you want to go to the shops, and they're starting to relax some restrictions in Germany, you have to wear a face mask or cover your face. Is it time to do the same thing here? And you will have noticed over the last couple of weeks more and more people wearing face masks. And I know it for some of us it feels a little bit uncomfortable, because it's something we're not really that used to. The whole idea of putting on a face mask. And in fact, I was in a supermarket the other day, and somebody wearing a face mask says, "Hi Adrian, how are you?" I didn't know who they were because their face was covered up, which was a little bit embarrassing. And then this particular person just lifted the mask for a second. Then I saw who they were, and they put the mask back on again. But the point being that it is something that's a little bit outside our norm here in Ireland. But how would you feel about the wearing of face masks being introduced here in Ireland as part of our slow recovery from this virus and our slow easing of lockdown restrictions. Call me right now on 6797 981. You can text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. Laura, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Laura?
I'm grand, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Your question actually is something that came to my mind yesterday as well, and that is why the Gardaí aren't wearing face masks.
Well, my comment on your post was because I've seen a video, just before you put that up, I've seen a video of a fella getting arrested with his daughter. The child's only about 7, and they're getting arrested for fishing on the side of a bank somewhere. And not one of the Gardaí was wearing a glove or a mask, and they were holding the child's hand and everything. Obviously the restrictions are in, and I understand there's checkpoints everywhere, but seeing the amount of Garda that are going around with no masks on, dealing with the public, and I've seen many videos of people getting arrested, obviously put online, but obviously it's not our norm to wear masks, but I think that the lack of the Garda wearing masks is making the public not really feel they should, because the government should be enforcing that everyone's wearing them, because obviously they're going to be safer. It's been proven to prevent the spread. Obviously they're not available, like the doctors' ones aren't available, but even homemade masks would stop the prevent of the little airborne fluids passing to other people. So I think everybody should wear them. And I know it's uncomfortable. Even when I went to the shops yesterday, I wore a mask going in, but people are looking at you like, oh, Jesus Christ, she's wearing it.
Yeah, but as you've noticed over the last couple of weeks, Laura, more and more people are wearing them. And I certainly, and I don't think they stand out as much as they did, say, 6 weeks ago.
When this all first came to light, my family, we all went online and ordered masks, right? So this is before the lockdown came in and all that. We bought masks, the proper masks. We bought them from a hardware supplier. And we had them for weeks, and we wouldn't wear them because you were so self-conscious of what people are thinking, she's wearing a mask, is she infected? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're only kind of starting to wear them now. I tried to put them on the kids if we did go out before the lockdown was on, but they didn't fit them correctly, so we just didn't bother. And then the lockdown came in, the kids haven't gone anywhere, but I think that everyone should wear them, even just homemade ones. There's loads of masks, homemade mask suppliers on Facebook. They're willing to send them out to people if they want, free of charge, or pay for the postage or something. But I just think everybody, especially the Garda, I think they should all be wearing masks just for themselves. Even the shop workers, all in the supermarkets, I'm going in wearing a mask and I'm looking at them going, that is so bad for them. We're only going in there for 5 minutes and they're there all day long.
One of the worries that some people have, and in fact this message just came in to me a second ago, and I'm trying to find out how other countries deal with this. Adrian, what about the identity of people who may be committing crimes with masks on?
I totally understand that. There was a funny comment put up yesterday saying a woman went to the supermarket and she brought home the wrong fella. Now he's flagging she didn't know it was her husband or not. Yeah. I totally understand that. But
and as I said, I was in a supermarket the other day. Somebody said, "Oh, hi Adrian, how are you?" I turned around, looked at the person, had no idea who they were until she lifted her face mask and went, how are you?
It's an everyday thing over in Korea and stuff like that. They wear masks for pollution every day of the week. Do you know what I mean? The identity of people is not going to... You'd rather be safe than having to not... do you know what I mean? For someone to see who you are.
Okay, so yesterday in Scotland, we saw the Scottish Government issue guidance. Now, it's not mandatory, but issuing guidance telling you that we'd like if you did. In Germany, it's become mandatory for wearing in buses, trains and trams, but also, as of today, to go into the shops and all of that, you have to wear a face mask. And you think we need to do the exact same thing here?
Yeah, I really do. Really do, 100%.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the guards, and I've been, obviously, because I'm coming into work every day, I've been stopped at a lot of Garda checkpoints over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And I wonder how the guards would deal with you at a checkpoint if you've got a face mask on.
Well, apparently they have asked, because my cousin's husband is a guard, and apparently they've asked for PPE, and I understand that the frontline workers need them before anybody else in the country. I totally am, but at the end of the day, beauty salon suppliers, they sell a 2-ply mask. It's better than nothing. I understand the doctors is like a 4-ply mask, and they have the N95s, FFP2s, whatever you want to call them. And I understand that. But there is masks available for Garda, because they're getting sold online all day long from beauty suppliers, even if they had them out in the public, just for dealing with, even at a checkpoint, because I've been stopped at a checkpoint and I've had a Garda put her face literally into my car window, and I've kind of gone, Jesus Christ, like, she's so close to me. And even with them as a group, they're not social distance. They all have to go home to their families. But if they wore a mask, that would make them feel safer. It'd make the public feel safer, and it'd make their family feel safer. Them coming home through the door, and do you know what I mean? A mask I think they should all wear a mask.
Okay, so face masks are available. I mean, initially when this whole thing kicked off, it was difficult to get them, but they are becoming more and more available as more and more companies produce them. Isn't that right?
Exactly.
Where would you get them?
Well, if you just go online and just look up a beauty suppliers, they have 3-ply masks. Like, I know the doctors ones are 4-ply, but even 3-ply, 2-ply, anything to cover their mouth just to protect them. I think now for their safety,
or even as a lot of people are doing, covering your face with a scarf or anything is better than nothing, isn't it?
Well, see, it's about cross-contamination then. Like, if you're going to a public place and you have a mask on and you actually suck the fluids in, obviously the front of the mask has the fluids on, you're touching it, then you touch your eyes. I've seen people doing it. I've seen gloves being used in the shopping centre, not disposed at the door, brought to their cars. I've seen all that. People, I think the government should say, look, wear the mask, but this is the way you have to wear them. This is the proper way to take them on and off. Don't touch the front of it. Wash them if it's a disposable scarf or little homemade mask. Wash them every time when you come home. But there should be some guidelines for the public and for the Garda and for anybody that's working in the shopping centres. I just think that they should all have the access to be allowed to wear them. Not being told, no, you're not allowed to wear them when you're working in the supermarket. They should be saying, right, because we want yours, you're an essential worker. Your priority, you should have this. You're there all day, probably there for 6-9 hours a day. But I think that they should have...
Okay, but stay there for 1 second and we'll just have a listen to this WhatsApp voice note that's just come in to me.
Hey, I work in a supermarket, and a lot of the customers coming in that have face masks on have them down on their chins, and they're pulling at them and pulling them up and down as they are taken for their shopping. So I'm not sure if it would encourage people to touch their faces more. Just a thought, I'm not sure.
And it's a very realistic thought, Michelle, and it is something that the medical experts say, that wearing a face mask, because we're not used to it, you end up touching your face an awful lot more than you would otherwise, because you're pulling at it and all of that. Now, we do know, and the doctor did say, that a mask doesn't necessarily protect you from getting the virus, but what it does do is it prevents you from spreading the virus should you have it and not even know that you have it. And an awful lot of people have had this virus and don't even know that they ever even had it. And that's really what the wearing of face masks is all about. All right, 6797 981 is our telephone number. You can text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. Helena, you're on 98 FM. Hiya, Helena.
Hiya.
Now, Helena, what's your point on this?
No, I don't. I wouldn't mind wearing masks, but I'm just saying if they bring it in that's compulsory and they go by mask and they hike the prices up, will the government provide each household a mask?
I wouldn't think so. I mean, there are a number of shops that are now selling them. I've seen them in lots of different places. So it's not like there isn't the shortage that there would have been at the start of all this.
Oh, I know. It's just that, people maybe on low incomes, that maybe on one wage that, are, trying to budget with stuff and just find it hard. Would they... Well,
I saw one in one shop the other day for €2. That's not really going to break anybody's bank, is it?
No, not really. I don't. I don't really go out now trying to have a child, but I do go out for walks at night when my child goes to bed just to get a bit of exercise into me. But I would have no problem wearing a mask.
Would you like to see it becoming compulsory, or at least strongly advised?
If they could, yeah. I mean, I keep my distance, and if I'm out walking, make sure I cross the road. If other people are coming the same path, because I have a child and I don't really want to be catching it, so far, touch wood now, I've been okay,
All right, so it wouldn't bother you if it became a recommendation from the government?
No, I wouldn't. If it helps save more lives, then no, I wouldn't, because it's kind of hard to hear all the elderly people that are dying in the nursing homes from this. I have a 90-year-old father myself like that. I haven't seen.
Okay, Helena, thanks very much indeed for your call. 6797 981 is our telephone number. Text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. Would you like to see the government recommending that we wear face masks when we're out in public? We're back in just a moment.
The sound of the city, from Coolock to Cabinteely. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
It's a conversation that has gone on for the last couple of weeks, and a conversation that we here in Ireland could never have imagined ourselves having even 4 months ago, but a conversation that we are now having because of the COVID-19 crisis. The government has indicated that so far, we're not there yet in terms of easing restrictions because of the amount of people in ICU and admissions into hospital and so on. We're nearly there by the sounds of it, and that's the vibe that I get. We're nearly there. We're just not quite there yet. But when things start being relaxed a little bit, should we do what they're doing in Scotland? They have recommended the wearing of face masks in public places in Scotland. In Germany, it's become mandatory that you have to. Should we do the same thing here? Tracy sent me this WhatsApp voice note.
Hi, Adrian. This is Tracy. I fully support the idea of mandatory wearing of masks. I have had my face covered since this began. So the week that the children their schools closed, I was only wearing a kind of snood on my face because you couldn't get a mask anyway. But I then made masks for everybody. There's some great tutorials online on YouTube that you can get, and make your own masks. Save people going out and taking them all off the shelves or whatever and leaving them for healthcare workers. So yeah, fully support wearing of them. So that's my view on it.
All right, and Siobhan found a retailer online selling face masks.
Good morning, sorry. I managed to find a retailer online that supplies face masks that she gets in from Germany last week. These can be washed on a 60-degree wash. They're made of cotton, and they also have a little pocket in between so that you can change the filters on them. You don't even have to buy the filters. They actually showed me that you can use a paper towel and make a filter out of it yourself. It cost me €10. I bought a few because obviously you don't have to throw them away. You just pop them on a 60-degree wash and you can use them again.
All right, Siobhan, she didn't tell us what the retailer was, though. Maybe you'd let us know, because I'm sure a lot of people are interested in being prepared for this perhaps recommendation. Emma, you're on 98 FM. Hi, Emma.
Hi, Adrian. How are you?
Now, you agree with enforcing this as well?
I do, Adrian. I actually, I'm self-employed myself normally, and when the lockdown started, I was, like everybody else, trying to find something to do. And I've actually set up a company, and I'm actually making and providing 100% cotton face masks.
Fantastic. Okay.
Yeah.
And so tell me about what these, because I was reading in a lot of places that cotton-made face masks are fairly good. They wouldn't be up to the standard the N95 masks, but they still will help in preventing the spread of this disease if somebody has it.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I had done a bit of research online myself, and I'm not a medic, so I wasn't 100% sure. My two sister-in-laws are actually doctors and on the front line, and I rang my sister-in-law and I just basically put it to her. I said, look, I don't want to be doing anything here that's, going to make it worse, or I want to be helping as opposed to doing something that's going to be a hindrance. And she basically advised me that they do help with larger droplets, and they do stop you touching your face, especially with young kids. I have a 7-year-old, and it's very hard to explain to him not to be touching your face and wash your hands and all the rest. So I took her advice on board, and I'll be honest, initially I got a bit of abuse online. I had
abuse? What sort of abuse?
Yeah, there was a bit of... you see, I suppose initially the recommendation was that the cloth face masks weren't good and that they didn't do anything for you. So there was a bit of resistance. I kind of let it, it didn't really bother me because I had checked with the doctor. I knew, what I was doing was right, and I went with it. But yeah, there was a bit of backlash from it, and
well, people accusing you of selling stuff that wasn't good,
people actually saying to me, if people get COVID from your masks, was one of the comments. How are you going to stop making them then? Just mad.
Right, okay.
I mean, I advise all customers, they have to wash them before use. I disinfect them. Obviously, everything is new that I'm using. I'm not going upstairs and taking the duvets and sewing them together. You know what I mean? It's as much precaution as I can. But they are 100% cotton and they can be washed at 60 degrees. But the tide has turned in the last week or so. People, I think, are being a little bit more informed, and they realise that actually we do need them.
I think it's all in our own mentality. And what I mean by that is, at the start of this whole thing, if you went into a supermarket and you saw somebody with a face mask on, you looked at them as if they'd 20 heads.
Yeah, I got people laughing at me.
And now it's slowly turning that I imagine within a week or two, even if it's not made mandatory, you are going to see a situation where more people have masks. Yeah, you can see it already. More people have masks than don't have masks. So tell me about your masks then. How much are they, and how are you keeping up with demand?
Well, I charge €5 per mask, and I charge for 5 masks that's €20. So in effect, they're €4. And all my family have always been, my mother, my grandmother always sewed. It's been in our family. So there's a few people on board now giving me a dig out because obviously it has grown. And I've actually put an ad out to look for machinists locally, because...
And where are you based?
I'm in Lucan.
In Lucan, okay.
Yeah.
And have you a website? Because I know people listening now are thinking, I wouldn't mind getting one of them.
Yeah, I'm literally in the middle of, this initially, Adrian, wasn't... I didn't think it would be a business as such. As I said, I'm self-employed, so... I have small coffee shops at the NCT. I don't know if you know them, the little kiosk.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, and of course they're closed, and I'm just sitting twiddling my thumb. So this wasn't, I didn't think that this would be any kind of. I thought it would just literally to pass a bit of time. But I'm in the middle of trying to put a website together, but it's Mrs. H face masks because. As in Mrs. Hinch, I just thought people would remember. And my tagline is, hopefully we won't be here for much longer. Okay, very
good. And have you a Facebook page, or how can people find you?
Yeah, no, I'm on Facebook. It's Mrs. H face masks on Facebook.
Mrs. H face masks. Okay, because I'm going to.
Yeah.
So how many have you managed to rattle out? How many have you managed to produce?
I actually don't know, Adrian, to be honest with you. It's, up late at night, early morning starts. I actually couldn't put it. I'm in the middle of tendering for a transport contract for a transport network as well. So it's amazing to come from, sitting at home and, really wondering what's happening here, where are we going? But, you have to keep going. You have to...
Okay, I'm on your Facebook page right now and I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
Mrs. H face masks.
Yeah.
Is that where people go if they want to order or...
Yeah, initially, they can go on there and just message me. I am... I've I'm trying to get a website together really quickly so people can order online, because I know people prefer a secure line.
Yes, indeed.
To make payments.
Okay, so you're trying to get all that set up as we speak, and trying to get a proper website set up.
It's quick moving,
but yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm looking at your page, and fair play to you, Emma. Mrs. H Face Mask is the Facebook page. I've already clicked like on it, and I can tell you, just Emma, be prepared, because I can tell you from the calls coming in on our switch, you're going to be swamped with people liking your page today. So you better get all those family and friends rallied up to start producing them, because I think this is where we're headed. I really do.
And also, can I just say, Adrian, as well, I mean, I've had messages from people with conditions, like my own mother has arthritis and she's had pneumonia twice in the last 2 years. And I've had people message me looking for masks, and I advise them against it. I'm not here, just to make money. Like, I am trying to help as well. And, it's not... I understand that they're not the same as what they use in the hospitals, because we can't be taking what the hospitals.
No, absolutely no, and this is the masks that you're producing are not going to be worn by doctors in hospitals. That's the point. Going
out, and we make kids ones as well. So
and as the doctor said earlier on, this isn't. This is just making things a little bit safer. There's no guarantee, but if you have the virus, and you may not even know you have the virus.
Well, this is
the key to this, yes. This will prevent you spreading it to other people. That's the point.
Exactly, yeah.
Emma, well done. Mrs. H Face Masks on Facebook. I'm just looking here. In the course of our conversation, you've got over 150 new likes on your page.
Oh, wow.
So, good luck with that, Emma. I'll be on to you later on to order some myself. So, thanks very much. Well done. All right. Quick break. We're back. That's a great initiative. Mrs. H Face Masks on Facebook. We're back in just a moment. It's 2 minutes past 11. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. This is Adrian Kennedy, and this is Emma with Wednesday's top headlines.
Thanks, Adrian. Good morning. The Taoiseach has said the country is not in a position yet to be able to ease coronavirus restrictions. Leo Varadkar has also encouraged people to ignore speculation on how they might be lifted over the coming weeks. This year's Dublin Pride Parade has been cancelled, with a virtual parade and concert to take place instead. The event was initially postponed until September, but organisers say putting on one of the largest events in the country would have put unnecessary pressure on frontline services. The Irish Hotels Federation is calling on the government to set a clear date for when hotels can fully reopen. 90% of them are shut because they're only allowed to accommodate essential workers. And UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson and his fiancée Carrie Symonds have announced the birth of a baby boy. A spokesperson says he was born at a London hospital this morning. And now you're up to date on 98.
98 FM's Dublin Talks. Call 6797 981.
And this is Adrian Kennedy with you until midday today. We're going to take another couple of calls on this whole thing about face masks and wearing face masks, and whether or not it should become, I won't say compulsory, but recommended. Eamon says recommendation isn't enough.
Yeah, hi Adrian. Yeah, I think it should be made compulsory that we wear masks here, because it's no coincidence that in countries like South Korea and the Czech Republic and other places that the cases of infection have dropped because they're all wearing masks. So I think it's a no-brainer. Thanks, Eamon.
Okay, Les says, and I would agree with Les on this, the government has been sending kind of mixed messages on this one.
Good morning. A couple of weeks ago, we were told by the Taoiseach and his medical advisors that wearing a face mask in public is not needed because it doesn't make much difference. Now we hear they want to put this thing on. Who's lying? Because somebody is.
Thank you, Les. It has been mixed messaging, it has to be said, on this. Sabrina, you're on 98 FM. Hi, Sabrina.
Good morning, Adrian. How are you?
Sabrina, you yourself have been wearing a mask for the last few weeks, have you?
I have, because I am asthmatic.
Okay.
And I took it upon myself to wear one for my own health and nobody else's. I don't have COVID-19, but I felt it was important to me to protect myself. I'm only 39 and I have a 10-year-old boy as well, so, I don't want anything happening.
And how have you found Because I'll be honest, Sabrina, I haven't worn one yet, okay? I do have one in my car, but I haven't worn it anywhere yet. And I think part of the thing in my head and a lot of people's heads is you feel a bit weird wearing it.
Yeah, I did at first feel weird wearing it, because the first day I did wear it, I went into one of the local shops and one of the girls was really snotty behind the counter, and I just turned and I said, I'm wearing this for my benefit, not for your benefit. I don't have COVID-19. I am asthmatic and I need to protect my lungs. But then I see a lot more people wearing them now, so I'm like, this is normal. This is the norm now.
And it is, and it's very notable. I was in a supermarket yesterday, and I would think maybe 40%, maybe nearly 50% of people were wearing them yesterday, compared to a month ago. Very few people were. So, yeah, it is changing. And does that make you feel a bit safer that more people are starting to wear them?
It does a bit, yeah. But the thing with wearing the mask when you're asthmatic is it's very hard to be able to breathe in general, you know. And I do wear the gloves as well when I go in, and when I come out, I spray my hands, and when I get home, I wash them. I just need to be extra safe because I'm looking after my parents as well. But yeah, no, it does. It makes a difference, because I have seen people not wearing the masks and not caring really what they're doing.
Well, no, I have seen some idiots as well wearing the mask, wearing them around their chin or around their neck or whatever.
Yeah,
like, what the hell is that all about?
Or one in the car with a mask on.
Yeah, I just don't get it. I really don't. All right, stay there for a second. Hang on, is this a WhatsApp from Terry? Oh, sorry, from Terry. This message from Terry. Can someone answer this? Why are supermarket staff not being forced to wear them? In the 3 supermarkets I work, not one worker on the till has them. I want an answer to this, please, says Terry. That's a very good question, Terry. I can't answer that. But I do know that in most supermarkets now, they do have perspex screens in front of the checkout operators, but that doesn't account for the people walking around the floor and everything else. If anybody knows the answer to that, you might let me know. Simon, you are from Lithuania, which has also made the wearing of face masks mandatory.
Yeah. Just on that note, the third question, my wife, she actually works in the Tesco supermarket.
Okay.
And she was asking she wanted to wear the mask herself, but the manager being told you're not allowed to because you're going to scare the customers. So the staff want to wear the mask, but they're not being allowed to.
Okay, right. Now,
that's
if it became...
the answer.
Yeah, maybe this is where we kind of need a government recommendation on this, because if it becomes a recommendation, then the likes of the supermarkets will have to say, yeah, okay, you can wear it.
No, yeah, I totally agree, because we have a small kid at home, and I bought a mask for her. I said, listen, you need to wear one because you don't want to bring that stuff at home. And she brought the mask at work, and she'd been told, no, you cannot wear it. So that's the way it is. Now, yeah, originally I'm from Lithuania, and I'm just going to tell you a fact straight away. They had their first case 2 days before Ireland had one, and basically it's the same amount of number of people living in Ireland and Lithuania, and just what happened is they enforced the wear the masks mandatory 2 weeks ago, and this week they nearly lifted all the lockdown. Nearly all the shops are open, and so far they only had 1,800 cases in the country.
And is that because do you believe that's because they acted very fast, or?
Yeah. They closed the borders. I think it was 10 days after the first case. They closed the borders. They introduced the quarantine where people couldn't leave the house unless it was just a shop and work, and then the masks. Because I've seen the videos, if the police stop you without a mask, you get €250 fine on the spot.
Really?
And I think that,
so we need to get serious about this.
Yeah. Ireland needs to get way serious, because it's way too easy, and we're going to be sitting in this lockdown for a month if nothing going to be done seriously right now.
Okay, now the warning, as we know, about face mask use is that it doesn't necessarily prevent you from getting the virus, from inhaling the virus.
I understand that, but it stops you spreading in case you have it and
Correct.
you don't know it.
Yes. That is the point. That is the point.
Yeah.
So you would like to see it becoming mandatory here very quickly?
Yes, I really, really would like to see so, because I'm sick of this lockdown and I want to get back.
And we all are. Yeah. All right, Simon. Thank you very much indeed. Still haven't got the answer to the supermarket thing yet. Why are staff not allowed to wear face masks if they choose to? And I get a couple of weeks ago it might have scared customers, but more and more people are now doing it. Colin says people are becoming complacent.
I personally don't see the point in wearing masks unless they're put on correctly. If they're not put on with clean hands, taken off with clean hands, thrown out straight away, you're actually carrying more germs. The same with gloves. I agree with wearing gloves. I have some myself. But unless you throw them out the second you walk out of the shop, what's the point? I'm watching people, woolly gloves or normal gloves, sitting in the car holding their steering wheel, closing the door of the car, walking over, getting the trolley, walking into the shop, picking up everything, and walking back out again with the same gloves that you wore the day before. That's passing more germs than somebody using a hand sanitizer every time they go into the shop and out of the shop. All they're doing is carrying the germs, and the gloves, the mask, are holding the germs, making it worse. There's no point in wearing them unless you use it properly. Other than that, you're better off with none of them and just wash your hands.
All right, Simon, I spoke to Simon. Anne-Marie finally on this. Anne-Marie, you're on 98 FM.
Hello.
Hi, Anne-Marie, how are you? Now, you live up north and work in healthcare as a carer.
Yeah.
And what's the situation there?
Well, the situation here is now that we have to wear all our PPE going into the patients' houses, the gloves, the masks, the goggles. Well, we always did wear the aprons and gloves, but now we have to wear the goggles and the masks.
And what is your view, Anne-Marie, on this whole conversation about us all wearing at least a face mask in public places?
That last man that was on there, I agree with him.
It needs to be mandatory?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. And we've seen it happening in other countries like Lithuania, like the Czech Republic, and now today in Germany as well. And you believe that that's the direction that we need to head? Yes.
I honestly don't believe in us wearing gloves in the shop. Like your man before said, people that's coming into the shop wearing them, they're lifting things, they're leaving them down, they are wearing those gloves God knows how long. So no, I don't believe in this gloves in the supermarkets.
Yeah, I personally think the gloves thing is a pointless exercise as well.
Yeah,
because you can still carry stuff
of the supermarket wearing them as well.
Yeah,
now, I stood in a queue and watched the staff in the supermarkets wearing the gloves. They don't change them.
Yeah, I mean, you nearly need to be changing the gloves after everything you handle, but that's not happening.
That's like me going in from house to house and wearing the same gloves.
Yes.
Same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So the gloves, and I kind of agree, unless they're being changed every 5 minutes, which is an awful waste of gloves, but it seems pointless. But the face mask for your own personal use and having one that you can wash and everything else seems to be...
Yeah, well, see, we're not allowed to wear ones that you wash.
No, obviously you're not. Obviously, I'm talking about the general public. I'm talking about people out and about for their walk or whatever, or going to the supermarket. All right, thank you, Anne-Marie. How are you coping?
We're coping okay. Thank goodness, all our patients as well that we're attending.
All right, but that's good to hear. Thanks very much indeed, Anne-Marie, and the best of luck to you. Grania sent me this WhatsApp voice note from Italy.
Hi, Grania here from Sardinia, Italy. When it comes to face masks, we're obliged to wear them when in public spaces like pharmacies and shops. We're allowed to exercise 200 metres from the house, but you also have to wear a mask. And that's it. Love the show, guys.
Thank you, Grania. And Wes says there must be a reason why the Gardaí aren't wearing masks.
Adrian, there's obviously a reason why the guards aren't being made wear face masks. You know what I mean? If the guards were, if it was really that important, surely the guards would be wearing face masks, and for them it'd be mandatory if they're dealing with the public and stopping vehicles and talking to people at car windows. So, I don't think it should be compulsory for people.
All right, thank you very much indeed, Wes. Something tells me that A Garda on duty, a Garda's face has to be visible at all times. Maybe, I don't know where I picked that up, but maybe that is true. Emer is living in Poland and sent us this message.
Hi guys, I live in Poland and it's mandatory over here to cover your mouth and nose when you're going outside. So that also includes in any sort of public areas, including in apartment buildings. So even if I want to put the bins outside, I still have to put a mask on.
All right, and then Fiona is also making face masks at the moment, sent us this message.
Hi Adrian, a long-time listener here. I'm a designer based in Kildare, and myself and my team are making handmade, reusable, washable masks. After much research online, I discovered that if you use layers of cotton and then a non-woven interfacing layer sandwiched in the middle, that can act as a barrier. So it takes longer to make them, but they offer quite good protection. Nothing's 100%, but every little bit helps to lessen the spread. I'm giving them away to frontline staff. We're donating to nursing homes. We're trying to send out a few hundred this week to nursing homes. And if anyone wants one, they can get in touch. I'm Fionnuala Burke, and I'm Fee Burke Design.
Okay, thank you very much indeed, Fionnuala. Sorry, let me just, before I play the final few WhatsApp voice notes, I want to do a very quick Dublin Talks text poll. And this is the question that I want to ask you. And it's just a yes-no answer. I'm just interested to see the change here. Are you, generally speaking, wearing a face mask when you're in a public place? So what I want you to do is send me the word yes or no to 0877 98 98 98. Generally speaking, when you're out in public or shopping or whatever, are you wearing a face mask in public? Text yes or no to 0877 98 98 98. Simple as that. Text yes or no to 0877 98 98 98. Generally speaking, are you wearing a face mask in public? Yes or no to 0877 98 98 98, and let me know whether or not you are. Because I know a couple of weeks ago we did something similar and discovered that 75% of you weren't. So let's try and make this as accurate as possible. Every one of you, obviously not every one of you, because the phone will melt, but send us yes or no to 0877 98 98 98. Are you wearing a face mask in public? A couple more WhatsApp voice notes. Felix is living in Germany. I did mention this at the start of the show about Germany making it mandatory to go shopping and on public transport and everything else. This is a message from Felix in Germany.
Hi, it's Felix here from Germany, Berlin. I just want to quick give you an update on the situation in my country. In Germany now, it's mandatory to wear a mask in public transport and in all shops. Basically, it does mean if you step in, 99% of the people in the train or in the shops do wear masks. If you do not wear a mask, the guards basically have the authority to ask you to step outside. If you won't, you will be fined, and that's now from Monday and from Wednesday on this week. And it's actually so that in our country, the reason behind it that everybody wears a mask is that we have a very good education from all the experts towards the virus, and the whole country is basically up to date on the facts. And I think that helps a lot if everybody is really, if you have experts explaining the situation one-to-one, what's happening, and give you all the background and all the information. And basically I do wear a mask. I have a little buff. I put it over my nose, and I actually made the test yesterday in the train. I stepped in, was waiting there. A guy came in not wearing a mask. He was standing right beside the door. Then it was my station. I went to the door, actually took off my mask to see how he will react, and he suddenly felt very uncomfortable. So what does it say? He not wearing a mask made him suddenly feel uncomfortable just because somebody else beside him also didn't wear one.
Okay, thank you very much indeed, Felix. So it's become their new norm in Germany in public places. Very quickly, send me a yes or no. Are you wearing a face mask? To 0877 98 98 98. Just one or two more. This is from Anya, who is a healthcare worker.
I'm a healthcare assistant and I'm working in the community at the moment, and right now we've been told basically that the WHO are stating that a mask should only be used for up to 1 hour. After that it's contaminated, so therefore would have to be changed after every 1 hour. So I do think it is a great thing to have a face mask worn outside, but I do also think that they will need to be changed, especially after 1 hour if that's the case. So yeah.
All right, Sean has a practical problem with wearing a mask.
How's it going, Adrian? I'd wear a face mask, no problem, but the problem I have is I wear glasses and they fog up when I'm wearing one. So can that woman make one where I can not fog my glasses up? Just wondering. Thank you. Love the show.
All right, Sean, thank you. This is from Jay on supermarket staff.
I think one of the reasons why they're reluctant to issue that everyone has to wear masks is because not everyone knows how to put on a mask and take off a mask. And I think that could be a problem as well. I think that could cause more problems if people don't know how to use them correctly.
Okay, and finally, Joanne sent me this message.
Joanne here. I just think there's no point trying to be hygienic when people are discarding their gloves and masks in the street and not in the bins. Like, I'm pregnant, near on my 3rd trimester, and looking around on the streets, seeing all the gloves and the masks, it just makes me want to stay in, not go out at all. It's like, what's the point of being clean and all this when you're just throwing them out in the street, and that them pieces of items could actually have the COVID on them.
Joanne, I have to say I totally agree with you. Seriously, we have bins all over the place. Put your gloves and your mask in a bin, please, if you don't mind. Anyhow, for our poll, I have to tell you, it's one of the biggest responses we've ever had. So thank you for that. And the question that we were asking you was, generally speaking, are you wearing a mask in public? Here is the answer. 45% of you said yes, 55% of you said no. Now, I have to tell you, a couple of weeks ago, it would have been 10% of you saying yes. So there's definitely a change, and you can see it yourself if you're out in the supermarket or whatever. So in answer to our question, thank you for your votes. 45% of you are wearing a mask in public, but 55% of you aren't. So there you go. That's very interesting. It'll be interesting as well to see if Dr. Tony Holohan recommends it. I don't think it's going to be made mandatory here in Ireland. Maybe it should be. Maybe that's the only way people will actually wear them. But it seems to be one way of helping us to slowly get out and feel a little bit more relaxed when we're out in public places. And a couple of people have texted in to say exactly that point about glasses fogging up when you're wearing a face mask, which is a bit of an issue. But anyway, there you go. Thank you very much indeed for all of your messages. 55% of you said no, you're not wearing a face mask in public. 45% say that you are. And finally, tell that caller, if you wash your glasses in shaving foam and leave them to dry, they won't fog up. Oh, isn't that what you do with mirrors as well? Yeah, it is. Okay. All right. Thanks very much indeed for all of your calls. You're listening to 98 FM's Dublin Talks. It's Wednesday morning. This is Adrian Kennedy. Now, on the way after the break, Wednesday means... I love this. Blonde Moments. This is where we want you to share with us that time you did or said something so stupid it can only be described as a blonde moment. Call me right now on 6797 981. You can text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. Share with me, please, that one moment that you can only describe as a blonde moment where you did or said something just cringeworthy. Share with me your story straight after the break.
The sound of the city from Drumcondra to Dorky. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
It's Wednesday. It's 98 FM's Dublin Talks. I'm Adrian Kennedy, and that man socially distanced from me in a different studio is our Jeremy. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, do you like my new haircut, by the way?
Yeah, it wasn't bad, yeah.
Actually, I have to give an honourable mention.
Not much to cut, but anyway, yeah, it's grand.
Still a nice job. I have to give an honourable mention, considering we're talking about blonde moments, to my mother. So yesterday evening, I asked my wife to cut my hair because it looks a bit scraggy at the moment, yeah? And she cut my hair. And I texted my mother last night, and I said, with a photograph, and I said, look at my hair, Sue was after cutting my hair, and she texted me back and said, no, you're not supposed to get your hair cut during lockdown. Have you not been listening to the news? Why did you get your hair cut during lockdown? I'm like, Sue did it. Sue cut, but you're not allowed. I'm like, I sleep with the woman every night.
Did she really?
If I'm going to catch anything off my wife, I'm not going to get it from a haircut, to be honest with you.
So what, your mother thought it was illegal to cut hair?
Yeah. Now, it's illegal to go and get it done.
Yes.
But if you live with someone who happens to be a hairdresser or who isn't a hairdresser
and is prepared to take the chance,
you're sharing a marital bed with them, I think that's okay.
That's very funny. You actually, this part of our show we call Blonde Moments. And this is where we want you to admit to us that time you did or said something so stupid or embarrassing, it can only be described as a blonde moment. And you had a bit of a clanger yourself this morning, Mr. Dixon.
We don't need to mention that.
I know we do. Here at 98 FM at about 8:15 this morning, there was a song that came on the radio, and this is what was played here at 98 FM. Okay, now this is a song from whatever it is. How old is this? About 20 years old, is it?
That's as old as Moses.
It's as old as Moses, yeah.
Great song.
Anyway, Brendan and Rebecca were playing this song, and it's one of my favourite 90s songs. Is it 90s? Yeah, probably.
Are you going to play the whole song?
Yeah.
Jeez, the show will be over.
Now, we all know this song. It was a huge hit for Daft Punk, yeah?
Yes.
Remember the song really, really well.
Love this song.
Yeah, love this song. But this is the bit of the story. By the way, 1997 this song came out. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Oh no, when did they start actually singing?
It's coming up.
Anyway, you know the name of this song, Jeremy. It is called
Around the World by Daft Punk.
Around the World by Daft Punk, okay? From 1997, so it's 23 years old. When did they start singing in this bloody song? Oh, here we go. Around the world, around the world. Now, can you please tell me, Jeremy, what you think is going on here?
Well, I said in front of a room full of people this morning, are they actually saying around the world in the lyrics of that song? I never knew that they're actually saying around the world.
What did you think was going on?
I just thought it was a computer going I just thought it was the sound. It was the sound of the song.
Really? So you, for years, knew the song was called Around the World, obviously?
Well, I've played it in clubs. I've danced to it in clubs, and normally when it comes on, I just do that as well. I go
So you never knew that they're saying around the world over and over and over again?
It doesn't sound like around the world to me.
It does. Listen closely.
No, can't hear it. I'm sorry, I can't hear it.
And I love the song, but the annoying part about it is that's all they say in that song is around the world.
Well, I never knew it was around the world. I literally just thought it was like a synthesizer or something going It doesn't sound like around the world. Listen.
It does. Around the world, around the world.
Okay, well, all you need to know, ladies and gentlemen, is that the whole office laughed at me this morning.
That is hilarious. That was one of your funnier blonde moments.
It wasn't meant to be funny.
After all these years of playing a song that you knew was called Around the World, you didn't know that they were actually saying around the world in the song.
It's a pointless,
listen, one more
pointless
time.
lyric
Listen.
anyway.
Now, Please tell me you can hear it now.
No.
Well, anyway, there you go.
It just sounds like someone got a Casio keyboard and put it under water in a bath and pressed play, and that's the noise.
So why was the song called Around the World then?
The names of songs don't normally contain the lyrics anyway.
Yes, they do. Anyway, it is time for Blonde Moments. So let's go. On 6797 981. Text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. Share with us, please, your blonde moment. Lisa, you're on 98 FM. Hi, Lisa.
Hello.
Lisa, tell me about that time that you did or said something so embarrassing it can only be described as a blonde moment.
Oh, well, I'm just to be reminded about a song that I've two actually. The first one was I was watching a film one night with my partner.
Right.
And we've been watching films, say, all that week. And he says to me, that effing alphabetical order fella, I'm effing sick of looking at him, I swear to God. And I says, Jesus, he must be good then if he's just been in that amount of films. And he's, you know the way it comes up at the end in alphabetical order, as in the names?
Yeah.
I took it like that it was a name, and I was saying, Jesus, he must be good then if he's just been in all them films. Right, so
that's
the other one was then that I just remembered. You know the Mary Black song, No Frontiers?
Which, who's
No
Mary?
Frontiers.
Oh, yeah, Mary Black was No Frontiers, yeah.
That's the one. That's the one. So in primary school, my teacher used to always play Mary Black. I don't know why. But for years and years, I used to think it was these words. And when I was in my 20s, I was walking around singing it because I'd heard it on the radio. And I actually was walking around work singing because this is what I thought it was. Instead of No Frontiers, I thought it was No Front Teeth.
No front teeth?
Mary Black does have front teeth.
Yeah. And if you listen to it, I can still hear it.
You thought Mary Black all these years was singing hang on, teeth. Oh, I can hear it.
How have we got that song on the 98 FM playlist?
Hang on, wait. Now listen closely. No front teeth. Hang on, listen. Here we go.
No front teeth.
She does. She says no front teeth. You're exactly right.
I know.
Mary Black has no front teeth. You learned it here from 98 FM. There you go. Brilliant, Lisa. Love it. Thanks very much.
Lisa, I'd say every day is a blonde moment in your house, is it? I'd say it's just one big blonde moment.
Thanks, Lisa. Good luck.
Why is that song on the 98 FM playlist?
It's not. I played it out of the computer.
Oh, that's okay.
Jade sent me this WhatsApp voice note.
Hi, Adrian and Jeremy. I lived in Australia a long time ago, and I was going on a date with this guy to his apartment, and he said to me, pick up some drinks yourself. So I arrived at his house, and the date went really well, and fast forward, I stayed the night. Fast forward to the morning, I woke up really with a really bad hangover. And anyway, we departed and I went home, and he texted me going, "I had a wonderful night. But one problem." He said that the 2 bottles of wine that I brought, that I drank, were non-alcoholic. I died.
So she woke up with a raging hangover the following day after drinking non-alcoholic wine.
But you can get a hangover from non-alcoholic drink.
How can you possibly?
I thought you could.
No.
But you can get a hangover from eating too much.
Really?
Have you ever had a food hangover?
No.
You know when you eat like a big mad Chinese at about 11:30 at night?
I've never woken up with a food hangover, no.
Yeah, there's such a thing.
We've another Lisa on the line. Lisa, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Lisa?
Hi, how are you? Good
Lisa,
morning.
tell us about your blonde moment, please.
Okay, I'm blonde, so I really have no excuse. But
Now, come here, as a matter of interest, are you actually blonde, or?
I am actually blonde.
Oh, right,
yeah.
because
no excuse.
because a lot of bottle blondes are no longer blonde.
No.
So anyway.
But anyway, I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago, back when the pubs were closed on a Good Friday, and it was a Thursday before Good Friday, and I was driving along in the car with my mum, and I turned around to her and I said, Jesus, all the pubs are closed tomorrow. Imagine when it's closed next year, it'll be on a Saturday. I thought because, you know, the way that the dates change days every year, I thought it was going to be on a Saturday, and I was really disappointed. I didn't cop. She just gave me that stink eye, and she was like, really?
Yeah.
She's probably actually listening now, so.
Christmas is on different days every year.
Yeah.
Good Friday is always Good Friday. It's always on a Friday.
Yeah, that didn't kick in.
Hey, just as a matter of interest, your hair, I'm sure, is like in rag order like most of ours at the moment, is it?
Oh, no, I keep it nice.
Oh, well, my wife, we were doing a Zoom call with our friends in America last night. I wonder how many people are doing this now, Adrian. And she wore a hat on her head because she didn't want our family in America to see her roots.
Really?
So she's literally sitting in the living room doing a Zoom call yesterday and with a hat on her head because she's terrified that people will see her roots.
But the proper shampoo was great for that.
Oh, she's tried all the shampoos. She can't. The roots are there. They won't go away.
It's really first world problems, isn't it?
It really is a first world problem.
Really
yeah. All right, good to talk to you, Lisa. Thanks very much indeed. Bye. And the irony of your story, Lisa, is last year the pubs opened on Good Friday.
I know.
And this year they're back closed again.
I know, yeah. I must have jinxed it or something.
Thanks, Lisa. We'll take a very quick break. We'll take a few more blonde moments straight after the break. If you want to share with us that moment you did or said something so stupid that it can only be described as a blonde moment, call me now on 6797 981 or text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98.
The sound of the city, from Kilbarrack to Kiltiernan. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
And we're dealing with your blonde moments. Some great stories coming in. I'm here and Jeremy is there, and ne'er the twain shall meet. We're distanced from each other.
We're around the world.
Shannon, welcome to 98 FM.
Morning, how are you?
Shannon, tell us about your blonde moment, please.
Oh, God, it's just ridiculous. Anytime I go to the airport, I don't know whether I'm an arrival because I'm arriving at the airport or if I'm a departure because I'm departing. So it's a constant. I just doesn't stick.
No, because you are actually arriving at the airport.
So when you don't know whether to go, oh, she's gone, I'm after losing her there. Her call is after going, JJ, if you want to try and get her back. So she arrives at the airport and goes, oh, Jesus,
arrivals.
I'm arriving at the airport. Is that arrivals or I'm departing the airport? How complicated.
Well, Dublin Airport is complicated because...
It's not.
Yes, it is.
No, if you're leaving, you're going to departures. If you're arriving, you arrive at arrivals.
No, but they're all on the same floor.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are. And
no,
then
they're not.
You have to go into the airport and go up the escalator to go to...
No, if you go up say in Terminal 1, the old terminal, yeah?
Yeah.
You go up the ramp.
So you drive up ramps to go to the airport?
The road, you follow the road. But if you're going to arrivals, it's down below you. It's on the level below.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Terminal 2 actually is all on the one level, but Terminal 1, departures is upstairs and arrivals is downstairs.
So poor Shannon, when she's in a taxi going to the airport, drop me at the... I'm arriving.
Oh, dear. Karen?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So, are you clear now?
Me?
Oh, sorry, this is another girl. Sorry, my apologies. Sorry, Karen. I thought you were the airport lady. You're not.
Oh, no.
Sorry. Now, Karen, tell us about your blonde moment.
It's not mine, it's my cousin's, and I have two for the same cousin when I come the first one, he was at a funeral a couple of years ago, and when he came home from the funeral, his mum said to him, you know, how did the funeral go? Like, was it sad? Because it was for a young person. And he said, yeah, it was really sad, but you know, as far as funerals go, it was actually beautiful. At the end of the funeral, when everyone came outside, they released these beautiful white doves.
Doves?
These beautiful white doves. And then he was at
Jeremy, have you ever sand a white dove?
No, I've never seen a white dove.
No. Yeah, go on.
He was at a work interview, and it was for like quite a big firm, and it was a very serious job interview. And he was sitting there, and they asked him something, you know, how would he fix the problem or solve something, and he said, well, he'd have to go back and speak to a staff member, and he, you know, maybe a few things, he'd have to twerk a few things instead of tweak.
Oh, yes. Is he always that blonde?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, is he? Some people just...
I can't say his name.
No, don't. Some people just have this innate ability to have blonde moments every day. Thank you, Karen. Now, back to Shannon, the airport, not knowing what level to go to. Are we clear on it now, or are you still confused?
No, still. It just doesn't stick with me. Every time I get to the airport, I have to text my boyfriend and be like, which am I?
Sorry, what do you text him when you arrive at the airport?
Am I an arrival or am I a departure? I don't know where to be going. It's absolutely terrible.
In fairness, they should rename it to Take Off and Landing.
Yes.
No, but they should.
They should, right, okay. So you're arriving at the airport and you don't know if you have to go to arrivals or to departures.
Or departing.
Okay,
because literally you are arriving or else you're departing. I don't get it.
It's a brilliant blonde moment. Okay, so they need to rename it for Shannon, Take Off or Landing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what does your boyfriend normally reply to you when you text him?
He just sends me the eyeball rolling emoji.
Yeah, that's very true.
All right, Shannon, brilliant. Well done. Thanks very much indeed. And Aoife.
Hi.
Hi, Aoife. What is your blonde moment?
So when I went on a J1 4 years ago, I was working at a summer camp in America, and me and two of my friends that I met over there were sitting down one day to plan our travels after camp. So we were booking all our flights and accommodation, and they left me in charge of booking our flights to Miami. And later that day, when we were going through the bookings, I don't know how we came about it, but we realised that I had booked our flights from Philadelphia to Miami for the October instead of August.
What a blonde moment!
We wouldn't even be in America in October.
Oh.
Yeah, but thankfully we got our money back, so it was okay.
That's a great story. Thanks very much indeed, Aoife, for that blonde moment. And before we go, a couple of WhatsApp voice notes, or before we wrap up this, Tony sent us this.
Hey lads, I'll give you one. My brother came out to live with me in England years ago, and he was with me a couple of weeks, and we were walking up and down the high street, and he just turned around, he says to me, yeah, Tony, do you know what? Your man that owns all damn butchers must be worth a fortune. And I says, hello, who was you talking about? He goes, your man Halal. He says, your man Halal that owns all them butchers. I was like,
So Mr. Halal is worth a fortune. There, brilliant. All right, thank you very much indeed for all of your blonde moments. We'll do it again next week. And Jeremy, thank you very much indeed. And just before we wrap up the programme today, I want to bring you information. As we know, over the last number of weeks, it's been very difficult for an awful lot of us. I put myself in the category of somebody who's actually very lucky through this whole crisis, because I've been in work every day. Thank God. I'm very, very grateful that I have been. But for many people, this has been very difficult in dealing with loneliness, dealing with isolation. And the government has announced a new campaign, which is basically, it's to try and encourage our well-being, basically. And up to this point, communications from the government have looked at urgent needs of public health and business supports and all of that. Well, now this new focus of government information coming out over the next couple of weeks is all about well-being, and inviting you onto gov.ie/together to get information on looking after your mental health, helping you to stay active and helping you to stay connected. And to find out a little bit more about this, I'm joined on the line by the Head of Health and Wellbeing at the Department of Health, and that is Kate O'Flaherty. Kate, welcome to 98 FM. Tell me a little bit more about what is being planned here.
So one of the things that we are now focusing on is, I suppose, putting in additional initiatives to support people's mental health and well-being. As you can imagine, it's a most abnormal time that we are living in, and our research shows, as indeed across all the world, that people are feeling worried, they're feeling anxious, they're feeling frustrated, and that's completely normal, that people would feel like this during what is, I suppose, a once-in-a-century event in our lives. So what we have pulled together, I suppose, is a lot of the great initiatives from national organisations and local authorities, as well as advice from psychologists and other experts, to help support people around the things that they can do themselves, to help cope with their new daily routine, or to help them get through these difficult weeks, particularly when we have the high level of restrictions. So our research as well is informed by the things that people tell us that they find helpful. So people find getting exercise and being active every day helpful. For the people who can get outside for a walk, that helps them. Hobbies, gardening, meditation, switching off, I suppose, having fun and doing things that they enjoy online, watching movies, all of that kind of normal stuff. And I think what the campaign aims to do is to help people, to give them advice and tips on how to do that, initiatives and projects, if you like, that they might seem interested in or feel interested in. And the other exciting thing is that we're working with a lot of national partners on some of the big events that people look forward to, particularly in the early summer months, so things like Bloom or the Flagole, and how do we now provide all of that online for people so that people can still check in and enjoy the things that they would have been maybe looking forward to over this time.
Now, one of the things that we have seen very notably over the last couple of weeks is, this whole thing that we're in this together has seen people pull together and provide services that we would never have dreamed of providing months ago. And this is obviously part of what you're trying to do, to pull all that together.
Yeah, I think in one way it's been quite remarkable the last few weeks in terms of how the population, the people living in Ireland, have pulled together not only to follow the public health advice and to adopt these new behaviours that we have to do to keep ourselves all safe, but then in every community, in every county, as you say, people have pulled together under a community call and providing supports and services, particularly to the older people, to more vulnerable people, and a real community spirit kind of coming across in every part of Ireland. And we see that, for example, in the local authorities in Dublin, and in Fingal, in Dunleary, in South Dublin, Dublin City, providing a lot of the things that, say, things like the libraries, the local sports partnerships would have provided, if you like, face-to-face to people in their communities. Now putting an awful lot of that online, from home workouts to Couch to 2K programs to book clubs, but also bringing people things that they're interested in online, like local history or nature, biodiversity, things that are happening in their own community.
Okay, now I note, as you said, with the different councils we have here in Dublin, there's such a range of different services being offered, like virtual tours of heritage sites, dog walking, you name it. It's listed here. Where can I find out more information if I want to find out the sort of services that are being provided here in Dublin?
So the main place to go to is to the government website. So that's gov.ie/together. On social media, you'll find a lot of it. People are using the hashtag #InThisTogether. And then the 4 local authorities in Dublin, it's to go to your local authority website. So if you look for whether it's Fingal County Council or Dunleary Rathdown County Council, to go on their website, and those will be updated at local level of, say, new things that they're rolling out. The most important thing for people to remember is, I suppose, the most important thing to get us through all of this, but which is the most important thing for your mental well-being, is to stay connected. Staying connected, which many people are, to family and friends, but also staying connected to your community, to things that you enjoy, and to keep in touch with what's happening, not just in terms of the public health advice, but also the things that are coming on stream now under this Together campaign, to help people to get through this.
Okay, so as we look at a summer where hopefully slowly but surely different restrictions will be lessened, it is important to realise that we will have certain restrictions on our lives for the foreseeable future.
Well, yes, and that's true things, the behaviours, I suppose we've been calling them, that we've been asking people to do, and that we all have to do, like hand washing, keeping your distance, knowing the symptoms and isolating yourself immediately and calling your doctor if you feel you have symptoms of COVID-19. Those are going to be with us for a long time because they are the only tools, if you like, that we have against this virus. But I think if you see the changes that people have made in the last few weeks, when only a few weeks ago it felt awkward not to shake hands with someone, to now the complete and utter change in how we live our lives. So our job going forward is to help support people to continue those behaviours, make it as easy as possible for people to remember what they need to do and know how to do it. So you're right, we will have all those behaviours going forward and they'll be the new norm, if you like. But that doesn't mean that other parts of our lives, the things that we enjoy, keeping active, doing things with friends and family, that we can't do that, maybe in new ways. And in one way, it's great that we have things like the internet and social media to allow people to do all those things and maybe learn about new things and find out about what's going on much more easily than maybe they would have. OK, so once again, all of these wellbeing initiatives from across government are being collated together at gov.ie/together. And as you said, on social media, the hashtag in this together is being used very widely. Kate O'Flaherty, Head of Health and Wellbeing with the Department of Health, thank you very much indeed for talking to us at 98 FM. Thank you, Adrian. And that's just about it from us for today. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. We're back again tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. If you've something you want us to bring up on the programme tomorrow, send us an email to Dublin Talks, all one word, at 98fm.com. Dublin Talks at 98fm.com. Barry Dunn is next, and in the next hour, he's got some great music lined up, like these.
Love it. The sound of the city, from Lucan to Lusk. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.